There's a story just down the road I'd like to tell you about. Walk with me.
It was almost a year after my grandfather's disappearance when my dad had him declared legally dead. I didn't know much about the man, besides him being a highly decorated Vietnam veteran, a hard-drinking conspiracy theorist, and that my pops and him stopped talking long before I was born. I would often hear him described in our household as one cold-hearted and mean son of a bitch. But from all the old family photos I ever saw when my dad was a kid, they both seemed fairly happy together. Never got the full story of what really went down between them, why my father held so much resentment towards the man, and why I never got to meet the only living grandparent I had left. But in the summer of 2023, I did find out that my grandpa wasn't actually dead. Well, not exactly.
Time can be a fickle thing. In life, we tend to look to the past. Conversations turn to those years we never really appreciated. Those days that we all lost. The minutes wasted. But in this story, it's the seconds that truly destroy.
So how do you dispose of deceased belongings in an estate house? Just keep watching. I will also provide you with a free worksheet to itemize the estate contents and provide you with the contact information for a locksmith in your area.
Can we get pizza for lunch, Dad?
Be sure to smash that like button.
What?
Can we get pizza?
Yeah, later. Leave me alone for a sec, huh, kiddo? I'm watching something on the phone.
But you're always on your phone.
I need to watch this. Can you go play around the house or something? I'll be done here soon. I'll get you some pizza.
Pepperoni?
Whatever you want, buddy, okay?
Yes.
Go. Have fun.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell.
And Jacob, remember what I told you if you see any guns laying around.
Don't touch them and come tell you where they are.
Good. Your grandpa was a war nut, so be careful, and I mean it.
Let's get started.
My grandfather's house felt cold and foreign to me, the air filled with the scent of dust, rotting wood, and lemon Lysol. The hallways, like a labyrinth, had dark corners where sunlight never reached, each one hiding a memory. Every room seemed like a gateway to a new world. I soon chose my next adventure, the green door at the end of the main corridor, leading to the basement. I turned the rusty knob and stepped down the creaky stairs into the darkness, finding the pull chain for one lonely hanging bulb. When the room lit up, I discovered a wonderland of beautiful masculine junk. So many of his relics and stories waiting for my young brain to worship and analyze. An eclectic mix of old tools, boxes, newspapers, and dusty shelves holding ripped camel gear. An American hoarder's paradise. I began to dig through his treasures until finding a framed photograph of my late grandmother, a beautiful yet stern-looking woman. She died when my dad was a kid. My grandfather never remarried. I wondered why. Suddenly, I heard a noise from the back corner of the room. It sounded like radio static. I navigated my way through the sea of lost memories before gazing upon a large wooden cabinet. On the shelf was the coolest silver walkie-talkie I'd ever seen. And next to it, a pistol. My heart pounded fast with fear before my curiosity took over. I reached my nervous fingers out, slowly, to touch the metal handle of death.
Damn it, Jacob. What did I tell you?
My dad, standing at the bottom of the basement staircase, came rushing over to me.
I wasn't gonna pick it up. I was just gonna touch it, I swear.
He grabbed the gun quickly and checked to see if it was loaded. Luckily, it wasn't. He took a sigh of relief before placing it in his back pocket.
These aren't toys. You could seriously hurt yourself. Do you understand?
I nodded my head in shame, on the brink of a good adolescent cry before he changed his tone.
Listen, I'm not trying to be mean. I love you, okay? But it's your mom and I's job to keep you safe. Since she can't be here, you're stuck with me, kiddo. New rule, The basement is officially off limits.
But Dad...
Until I can go through all this junk, it's off limits. That's it. End of discussion.
Can I just say one thing, please?
I pointed to the silver vintage walkie-talkie shimmering on the shelf.
Well, I'll be damned.
He picked it up and stared at it for a moment, in adoration.
You know what this is?
It's a walkie-talkie, right, Dad?
Kind of. It's a two-way radio. This was mine when I was about your age. See?
On the back was a name and date carved into the old plastic. Stevie, 1982.
Your grandfather gave it to me for Christmas one year. We used to talk to each other on it all the time before... Well, anyway. I thought he threw this junk out after I left.
Can I keep it?
It's missing the other radio, kiddo. Not going to be able to do much besides listen to 40 channels of static. Maybe catch a radio signal or a trucker here and there. This thing is old.
Please?
Fine. But you have to promise me you'll stay out of here for the rest of the trip.
I will, I swear.
I know this isn't the most ideal weekend for you, Jacob. I don't want to have to be here either. I promise I'll make it up to you, okay?
That night, I explored the old knobs and buttons of the two-way radio, hoping to find a signal to a distant planet, or perhaps another bored kid just like me. Started at channel 1 and made my way through the entire static library, all 40 channels. I listened carefully for any type of communication. Nothing. My eyes grew heavy, and I eventually fell asleep. I woke up sometime around 3 a.m. to a whispering deep voice, reaching through the white noise.
Echo base. Bravo, Samson. Over.
I couldn't believe it. Someone was trying to get through. I checked the frequency dial. Channel 19.
Is anyone out there? Over.
Hello? I'm here.
We're pinned down. Orbits. Charlie, Tango, 7-9. Heavy enemy fire from the grid line. To the north. Request immediate backup. Ready air support. Over.
Who is this?
Sergeant. Bravo Company. First battalion. Ready backup now.
Suddenly, the radio cut out and returned to pure static once again. The next morning, I couldn't wait to tell my father what I had heard.
The guy was talking of a military code or something weird. I think he needs help, Dad.
It's just probably a signal from a neighbor's TV. Just a rerun of an old war movie.
That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned until 3 a.m., when the voice returned again.
Is anyone out there? Over. Echo base. We're low on ammo, and I have wounded. Urgent assistance required. Over.
Who is this?
Sergeant Harold Brown of Bravo Company, 1st Battalion. I need backup now. Over.
My last name is Brown.
Jacob.
Grandpa?
It was him. My supposedly dead grandfather.
Yeah, it's me. Jacob.
Jacob, where are you?
I'm here, Grandpa, at the house.
The house.
Yeah, your house. With Dad. Grandpa?
Listen, boy. You have to get your dad and get out of there now. There's something in there. There's something in the house.
Grandpa? Grandpa?
You have quite the imagination, Jacob. Quite the imagination.
I'm telling you, it was Grandpa. He said something was in the house. Maybe it scared him away, and now he's warning us.
Great theory, but it's impossible.
It was him.
It can't be him because he's dead, Jacob.
What?
They found his dog tags 3 weeks ago in the woods.
How?
Your grandpa had mental issues, PTSD, and most likely schizophrenia. He thought everyone, including the government, was after him, so he took off alone. He most likely died of dehydration.
Why didn't you tell me?
I was gonna tell you after the weekend. Things are heavy as it is, and I didn't want to get you upset.
Did they find the body?
Most likely the animals got to him. I'm sorry, kiddo.
I was gutted. How could my dad not have told me? Who was it talking to on the radio? Was it someone playing a prank? My grandfather's ghost trying to warn me about something? Or was it possibly something even more sinister? That night, I waited patiently by the radio, hoping for any more information. 3 a.m. again, on the dot, the voice returned.
Jacob, you're still there.
Who is this?
Harold. Sergeant Harold Brown. I'm your grandfather, boy. Listen to me. You have to get out of the house.
You're a liar. My grandpa is dead.
Yes. For a long time. But you, Jacob, you can live
Who are you? What do you want?
as you are. I once was. As I am. You soon will be.
What does that mean?
Oh, bravo. Get out of there now!
Terrified, I curled up tightly underneath my covers, my heart beating rapidly. I wished it away. I wished it all away. It wasn't long before the adrenaline subsided, and my body and mind fell asleep, out of pure exhaustion. A sleep so deep that could erase all the memories of the voice on Channel 19. Meanwhile, in the basement, a wooden cabinet began to slide ever so slightly. White, bony fingers with long, dirty nails grasped the bottom of its frame, pushing it further away to reveal a dark, man-made hole in the wall behind it. A shadowy, thin figure emerging from its depths. Unkempt hair that almost touched the ground. In its hands, a rusty metal Bowie knife. It made its way slowly through the room, up the stairs, and into the maid house. It walked down the corridor to my room and stood there in the doorframe for a moment, staring at me as I lay asleep, before raising the blade to its chest. It then bent down to the floor and crawled towards my bed. It wasn't long before I awoke from the gunshots. Holding the smoking pistol was my father.
Jacob, are you okay?
What happened?
Are you hurt?
I'm fine.
My dad walked over to the bleeding body on the floor and kicked the knife from its grasp, keeping the gun aimed on the intruder. He bent down to turn the figure over.
Dad?
Lying on his back and slowly dying was my grandfather. He mustered enough energy to point to the corner of my bedroom and utter 3 final words.
I'm sorry, son.
We followed his gaze. There, almost imperceptibly, was a tripwire attached to a live grenade behind a dresser drawer. One I had somehow never triggered, despite all the times I'd walked into my room.
We need to get out of the house. Now.
Sometime later, the authorities explained what must have happened. My grandfather, believing it was the end of the world, had dug a man-made bomb shelter 10 feet beneath the basement. He had set booby traps all over the house, but we had miraculously never triggered any of them during the few days we stayed there. He had been living in its depths for years, apparently stocked with enough food and water for a decade. The truth was, he never left the house. He was right there with us the whole time. Everything finally made sense, except for one small mystery. When they confiscated the radio, along with one found in the bunker, there was something important missing from both devices. Batteries.